This episode and the entire season are proudly brought to you by California CRYOBANK. Go to cryobank.com and use promo code LOVEISLOVE for a free level 2 subscription to their donor catalog. Make those babies, y'all.
Love is love on the Queer Family Podcast. Love is love.
I had a responsible job. I needed the income, that was for sure. And in those days, in the 70s and 80s, you could be fired for being gay.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know how it all would go down. So we just kept quiet.
Welcome to the Queer Family Podcast Pride Extravaganza. This is the show all about family, but with gay. And you are tuning into the Pride Extravaganza, the show that celebrates, uplifts, highlights, and normalizes LGBTQIA+ families and all of our beautiful identities, is bringing you some Pride Extravaganza episodes. What are those? Well, I'll tell you what those are. Usually you get one episode every Monday of the Queer Family Podcast, but this month, because it's Pride, I have brought you double the episodes of Queer Family goodness, which means every Monday you got an episode and every Thursday you're getting an episode. And they have all been so freaking beautiful. I can't even tell you how honored I feel to be able to talk to all these beautiful LGBTQ individuals about their families and their journeys. And before I get into today's guests, I wanted to just let you know, I don't know if you're watching the video, you see I have a couple ladies sitting by me. These are 2 more awards that just came in the mail. These are beautiful. They're ladies. How did they know I was a lesbian? How did they know? This is the Communicator Gold Award, and this is the Communicator Silver Award. And I think these are the prettiest I've gotten so far. I really like them. I am running out of space on my little makeshift shelf that I got to display my awards. Like, what do you do with awards? Honestly, it's really great to get them, but now I don't know what to do with them or where to put them. I'm running out of space. My wife is going to get so mad at me because this bedroom of ours that has become my office is really getting overrun with accoutrement of LGBTQ goodness. I guess that's not a bad thing when you think about it. Okay, I'm going to put these awards down because they're actually very heavy. They're very pretty. And you can just hold the lady. I like her. Okay. Anyway. Okay. So I wanted to update y'all on a few things. As Pride Month is sadly coming to a close. I hope y'all have had a wonderful June. I hope y'all spent time with wonderful chosen family and all the things and had some great celebrations, or maybe you're heading into one this weekend or 2 or a dozen. Who knows? Whatever floats your boat. But Pride is sadly coming to a close. And we have this one episode here for you. And then we have one more coming up next week. And after that, I'm taking a much needed hiatus. Y'all, I love you. I love you. I love you. But I have not had a real break in 2 years at least. My previous co-host left and I hit the ground running and I didn't stop. And we've had so many beautiful episodes. But Mama needs a break. So Mama is going to go on a little vacation with her family and I'm going to try my best to not work. Who knows? Keep checking in on the social media because I know I'll be there at the Queer Family Podcast. So just needed to let y'all know that. Stay tuned. I'm coming back. I'll be back in August, but I'm trying to take the month of July off. Good luck. Good luck to me. Wish me luck. I think I can do this. It's very hard, but I think I can. Now, let me talk to you about today's guest. Y'all are going to love this one. I sat down with Canada's Gayest Family. That's how they're known on TikTok. They're actually like TikTok famous. And they are a family of women, all of whom are lesbians except one. That's how they describe themselves, not me. That's their description, and that's hilarious. And they all live within the same block of each other, and they're all really close. And I spoke with who they lovingly call the gay grandmas. Jan and Linda. And it's a really wonderful discussion and a great testament to our community's resilience, and also a great reminder that Pride really did start as a riot. And in order to get to where we are today, folks like these gay grandmas really paved the groundwork for us and lived in secret and fought their ways out of the closet and lived through the AIDS epidemic. And we are standing on the shoulders of greatness when we think about the LGBTQ folks who came before us. You're going to really love this episode with the gay grandmas. And Karen, their daughter, who's also a lesbian mom, makes an appearance too. So I hope you enjoy it. And while today's episode talks about the journey our community has come so far and how wonderful we actually do have it because of those folks, the episode next week with Sarah Kate kind of lays the groundwork for the fight ahead of us and how we all need to take the torch that was handed to us by the gay grandmas and folks like them and continue this fight onwards so that all of us have real, true inclusion. And Sarah Kate lays out some strategies and some help and some resources for how to do that next week. So enjoy this episode. Enjoy your queer badass selves. Have a happy Pride. Squeeze it to the very last day of Pride because it's our birthright. It's our birthright. And please enjoy the episode. Helen, Beulah, Nicole, Jerson, and everyone else whose shoulders I am standing upon in this queer life goodness, please roll that tape. Canada's Gayest Family, take it away.
Queer Family Podcast, love is love.
Hi, Jan and Linda.
Hi, Jaimie.
Listen, listeners at home, it has been a whirlwind of technology issues. And so we are finally getting to do this talk. And Jen and Linda have been extremely patient while we figure it out. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I cannot wait to dive into your story. So right away, without further ado, why don't we just get right into your elevator pitch of who you are and why you're here on the Queer Family Podcast. Here we go. On your marks, get set, go.
Okay, well, I'm Linda, and I am the matriarch of the Canada's Gayest Family, as that's what we call ourselves. And my partner is Janice.
Hello.
And we have been together about 30 some years.
Okay.
And,
wow. I'm going to dive in right now because you've been together 30 something years. Why are we calling ourselves the gayest family in Canada?
Well, it all started off with Linda's daughter, Karen, and she, because Linda's gay and Karen, her daughter, is gay, and then Karen had a daughter and she's gay, and then so our family, so Madison has 4 mothers, 2 gay grandmothers, and is embarking on her life now. She's about almost 30. I think that's terrible to say, isn't it? She's 28. Yeah, yes, and embarking on her life. And then Karen thought that we were the gayest family because there's 3 complete generations, and each of us have lived through 3 generations of gay society, shall we say, and how that has changed over the years. In 9 days, I'm going to be 86, and Linda's 82. And so we lived in our generation and saw different things to Linda's daughter, Karen, who lived in her generation. Yeah. And now we're watching changes in the world and seeing how Madison will be living in her generation. That's and so that was the spark for Karen, who then decided to pick up a phone and take pictures of us when sometimes we were not aware, and sometimes we were, and started to post it. And then also Karen had a lifelong ambition to tell her life story. And over 14 years of trying to do this and taking all sorts of pictures, she has finally succeeded, and we've made a documentary which is just about to be released in Toronto in the Inside Out film festival.
And Karen was very determined that we would do this and never gave up over the last 14 years, trying to get people interested to help her or to show her the way or help her along the way. And with her determination, it is finally finished.
We ended up getting married. We had a dual wedding. Karen and Kathy got married, and Linda and I got married. We had a joint wedding, and it was wonderful. And that was my 80th birthday present, I guess, to get married.
This is amazing. I can't wait to see it. What I want to do, my ladies, is can we take it back to your younger years?
Yes.
And talk about growing up and also just coming to your coming out journeys, because I imagine there's some story there. I mean, kids were born at some point, so there's got to be something going on. So
Jen grew up in Australia, and I grew up in Canada, and we had different paths. My path was a typical, you finish your education, you get married, you have children, and I followed that path and was married to a very, very nice man. He was fair and he was great until I had an affair with another woman, and then the tide turned. And it was in the 1970s, and there was a lot of prejudice in those days.
Linda, can I interrupt? Can I ask you, was that your first was that like your first time with a woman, or had you already, been down that path and it's the 70s, so everybody's free? Was it something like that? Or
that was the first time I fell in love with this sorority sister of mine, and hid it as best we could, because we were both married. We both had 2 children. Over the period of about 10 years, both marriages broke up, and we decided that we would wait until all 4 children had finished a certain level of schooling or education, which was basically the basic education in high school, because we didn't want to change any living arrangements. So we lived separately and carried on our affairs as best we could. Then after 10 years, we decided to sell both houses, and we bought a big house with 5 bedrooms that would accommodate everybody to have their own room, etc. By that time, the children were going off to college and university, so they weren't at home as much, and we just felt it was fairer to them. So we lived together for 6 years and decided at that point perhaps we wouldn't break up our relationship, but maybe because of the children, it would be time to live separately again for the time being. So we did that, and I started having other affairs at that point, other experiences into the gay life, which is what I wanted. My partner wasn't anxious to do that. So that's one reason our paths sort of went separately.
But you had both come out as a couple at this point, like to your...
No, we hadn't. No.
And about you just discovered or realised that Karen was gay, and you lied to Karen and said you weren't gay, and Karen lied to you and said you weren't gay. And then the 2 of you would and friends, both knew each other's was going to gay clubs, and their friends knew. And if you saw someone there, you wouldn't go into the club. And then Karen would, and you were lying to each other all the time. And
if her car was in the parking lot, I couldn't go in.
This is your daughter.
Yes.
Karen. Oh my God. Okay, so Karen came out, and you were like, well, I'm not gay. Even though you lived with your girlfriend for 6 years?
Yes, with all 4 children.
Oh my God.
But they were going to university, around that time. So they weren't home all the time.
Uh-huh.
But we had a lot of cars in the driveway.
I'm sure. Well, you're like the real life Kate and Allie. You were. You Kate Nallied it. Oh my goodness. And you were keeping the relationship a secret that whole time.
Well, we thought we were anyway.
Right. Well, but your ex-husband knew, because you had to tell your ex-husband, and he didn't take it well.
Well, the thing is that I was never sure what he would do if he knew positively. I think he had me followed, and that's how he was pretty sure. But he filed for divorce, and because he met someone else, and got remarried.
He could take the kids.
Yeah, well, he had the children every other weekend.
He could have got fired.
Yes, that's what I was afraid of. I had a responsible job. I needed the income, that was for sure. I was afraid that he would make things nasty for me. And in those days, in the 70s and 80s, you could be fired for being gay.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know how it all would go down. So we just kept quiet. If we were challenged, it would depend on who was challenging us, I guess, whether we told the truth or we told another lie. It was hard during those times. And we managed to remain friends. And then about 4 or 5 years after we parted, she passed away. So, but we still met regularly for a lunchtime, talked about what we were doing, and it was nice to be friends. And even after she passed away, we were still friends with her 2 children, and then they went sort of on their way and began their lives. So we don't see them as much now.
Wow. All right. So you lived in secret for a long time. And even during this time, your daughter comes out.
She wasn't out to you.
No. We were still hiding it for a certain length of time, but eventually we did come out to each other, which made it a lot easier,
Well, I can imagine. But okay, let's take it over to Jan and tell me what happened with you. And now I'm on the edge of my seat here.
My life was completely different. I realized I was gay with a sudden thing. I thought, oh, this is where I fit in. And I realized I was gay. I set out, it was very secret and all of this. And they tease me today because once they asked me, well, did you come out? And I just said, well, I was out to my gay friends. But I, in the meantime, lived, quite a gay life and was involved in building a community. And in Australia in those days, everything was secret, but we built a community, and it was a gay community, and it was fabulous life. And you would meet people. We had all sorts of little private clubs that you would get an invitation in a sealed brown envelope with no identifying marks. And everyone was terrified that what if the police got the mailing list, and so on and so forth. Anyway, we led a wonderful life, and we had picnics, and as well as the bar scene, but we all kind of wanted to do other things as well. It was exciting, and also there was this big wide gay world, and it was a time where if you were gay, you automatically had a common bond, and there was a sense of camaraderie. You could be a ditch digger or a doctor, but the first thing that would happen was that you were gay and you would be friends, and you would either end up being friends or not, depending on your personalities and so on and so forth. So I lived my life like that, and it was wonderful and secret.
You're reminding me of the League of Their Own, the new team. Did you see the show?
Yes, yes.
So anyway, then the world was big, and I kept thinking the grass was greener on the other side, and there was clubs in Paris, and there was things in America, and there was things in, all these places. And so about 3 of us took off and we travelled the world, and we went to all these places. And in those days, if you knew a gay person, you would just get in touch with a gay person in any city, any place, and they would refer you, and you would have an in, and it would be really, really good. Anyway, that ended because we ran out of money, and so we had papers to go to Canada, and could work there. So that's how I ended up in Canada, and I arrived in Canada in 1968. So it was times then that were going on, but of course I had a name and address and got in touch with someone, and then the next thing I'm in another gay community, and it was quite wonderful, also secret, and nobody knew. And that's where they teased me, well, did you ever come out? Well, to my gay friends, I was out. I was very out. And I used to work, I was on the first Pride committee in Toronto. We were working a counter for the parade, and one of our things, if we could only get a truck, if we could only get some wheels for the parade, So that's how back, and that's what sort of it was when you look at it today. And also, this friend and I, we made plans that any newspaper people to duck down and so we could fit under the table so no one would see our picture, because we could have got fired too.
Oh, my goodness.
So anyway, it went on, and then gradually laws changed and things like this, and I met people and I had some relationships and things like that, one particularly long one, and we were together for 13 years, and then Linda and I met in our 50s, mid-50s, at a party, mutual introduction. And then there was a thing going on called the Michigan Women's Festival, Music Festival, Women's Michigan Music Festival. And it used to be on for a week. And you would go down there and camp, and that people would come from all over the world.
Sometimes 7,000 women all on one.
Yeah. And it was wonderful. And then Linda and I met up there with mutual friends around the campsite. And after that, we got together for dinner one night, and then our relationship went on, and eventually it took off, and we moved in together, and we've been together ever since, and witnessed great changes, because Karen being out and didn't want living her past with her and her mother lying to each other about being out and teasing us, Linda and I, that we were still out and people must know we were gay. And we're sort of saying, well, we don't want to be the oddity on the street and all of this sort of stuff. But eventually we came out to various friends, and we were sort of out. We were gradually coming out. So we came out. So everyone now knows that we are gay. And then we got married, all our friends, straight friends. And I had majorly mixed with gay people, not straight people. So when I sort of came out, I was gradually mixed a bit with the straight people.
But Jan, you never really lived the straight life. Like, you knew you were gay and you just went down that path and found your community.
Right, yes. Yeah.
Wow, but it was all in secret. That's heavy.
Now it's another different wonderful life, because rules have changed a little bit. Like, we can get married. I never wanted to get married. But then I thought, you got to get married. People are fighting for this. And I have fought for this too, because I did a lot of activist work. You have to be visible to be recognised, and that's the way to go. And so that is what is happening, and I am part of that, and I am pleased to be part of this new generation. But I see changes. I recognise things of some of my past life, and I see things happening. So I kind of don't really want it all to sort of revert back too far, and you have to just keep fighting the good fight and making and normalising things. And the movie's called Unusually Normal, and so the documentary is called Unusually Normal, but you have to normalise things so people are not so fearful.
Yes, that's the mission of my show. Yeah. Highlight, celebrate, and normalize our family.
Exactly.
And now you can have children. One time you never even thought of having.
Well, that's what I wanted to segue to this, because Linda, you had kids, and then you were living in secret, and then you had to come out and do all the, But Jan, you just said, you never thought of kids. Like, what was your thinking around family? And
I just didn't think I would have any children. I don't think I never really wanted one. A lot of my friends did, and they couldn't. And me personally, I wasn't I don't think I was meant to be a mother.
But wait a second now, because then you met
She's the best
Linda.
grandmother ever.
Yeah, but then Karen always wanted to have children, and and when Karen and at that point Karen was going with a lady called Anna, and they decided to have a baby. Well, my generation of friends and things were somewhat a little bit appalled. Imagine, and it was really like, imagine. And anyway, so they did, and they were among the first in Toronto to do it.
And this is Linda's daughter, Karen.
Yes.
Yeah, just
So,
Linda's daughter.
so now you're seeing the next generation
Yeah.
do the things that I think we're the same generation, me and Karen. So we're doing the things that our generation, she might be a little bit different. So we might have a lot of generations going on between all of us in this whole conversation, including your grandchild. We'll be right back.
Queer Family Podcast.
All right, now's a good time to just interject with the sponsor of this here episode, California CRYOBANK, my favorite sperm bank, because it's how I made my babies, and many others, countless others, because it is the #1 sperm bank in America, and they ship to over 40 countries, and they've been around for more than 45 years. And while most of us in this LGBTQ community are going to need a little extra help when it comes to creating our families, and California CRYOBANK is a great option if donor conception seems like the right path for you. They have a very stringent screening process, and they have a diverse donor selection, and you will find your ideal sperm donor through them. All you have to do is head to cryobank.com. Use promo code LOVEISLOVE when you create an account, and you're going to get a free level 2 subscription to their donor catalog. You can also use that promo code towards a discount on a level 3 subscription. So go check out cryobank.com, start shopping around, see what they have there, so see all the amazing benefits they offer, and make those babies, and then come tell me about them. Okay, back to the show.
Love is love.
So then you're seeing that, and your friends, your lesbian friends, were taken aback.
Especially in Karen's generation. Not so much. Well, I guess ours too.
Well, I know my friends were they were a bit shocked and didn't know whether to be shocked or happy or what, but it turned out that they were really pleased, and Karen did have this little baby, and she did artificial insemination that didn't work, and then that's your story. And,
What?
Well, not really my story.
How you worked in the lab, and you were the first to know that Karen
she was going through
artificial insemination, isn't that right?
IVF program. It's very costly without success. So then she decided to put an ad in the paper and interview a few people, took it down to one male, and they did whatever they had to do, and it took.
Wait, so she found a known donor, and then they like baby danced the old-fashioned way.
He went into a thing and did what he had to do and handed.
Okay, in a cup. Gotcha. So they did it. They did at-home insemination, basically.
Yes, on their own.
Anna and Karen did that.
They brought the sample home under their arm, keep it warm, and did their own insemination. And
that worked.
It worked.
Interesting. And IVF wasn't working.
No.
That is very interesting.
Yeah, it wasn't working. I was working in a lab at that time, and every time a sample came in from, Karen, a blood sample, we were testing it, and I blabbed. I wasn't supposed to, but it was pretty hard not to.
You phoned her up and said, "You're going to be Mum."
Yeah, I'm crying at the other end. And anyway.
Oh, so you were the first to know.
Yes.
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh, that's a really sweet story.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then Karen had Madison, and we were a bit involved in Madison's life because she went.
You were her. You were her gay grandma's.
Yeah. Well, she just went to the school very near our place, and they'd come home for lunch, and we would play Barbies. And
Jan has a very big imagination, and I don't. And she played Barbies everywhere. I mean, Madison would walk in the door and say, "Grandma, can we play Barbies?" She wasn't asking us, Grandma. I didn't like Barbies. So.
Yeah, and none of us thought Madison was going to be gay. She was a lipstick lesbian, and she was destined to be a lipstick lesbian.
Yeah. Nobody thought I was going to be gay either. It was a big shock. It was a big shock.
Yeah, so anyway.
But, there's one point that I wanted to talk about, and that's when you get married. You don't have to be married for this point, but it helps. When you are a couple and you establish a reputation, you're thought of highly by your friends, by the ones maybe you don't know as well. But it brings the respect higher, I believe, the way I think. If you have a nice relationship, you're living a good life, and you're successful in some cases, it gives you the respect. And I think that has helped us as well in the gay life, in the experience, because you respect each other, and your friends or your acquaintances, the people you work with, they begin to respect you too. Not that they didn't before, but it's a different kind.
Your life is just fascinating and beautiful and wonderful. And I want to ask a question about when you finally did come out to Karen, who had come out to you. How'd that go?
I try to forget it, but she doesn't let me forget it. So. But we, went for a ride in the car, and there was deny. And then the next time we were having dinner in a restaurant, and we talked about it more openly. The issue here too is my other daughter, Karen, was honest with her, but I wasn't. And so she felt left out. And I think always resented the fact that I wasn't honest with her. But I had to be very careful, because I felt that she would take it back to my husband, and that then there could be issues. He had already threatened to sue for custody, etc., and I was not going to let that happen. So.
And how old was Karen when you came out to her?
Well, 14 or 15. She already had a girlfriend, and she was in high school.
Was she?
Yeah. And then, the disagreements pursued, and she moved out and with her girlfriend's family, and for a little while, and then she came back to our main house. But it wasn't a few years, let's put it that way.
Right. It's been a journey.
It's been a journey, and a difficult one, because of the denial and the lack of truth. Again, that is in sync with the years. These were the 70s and 80s. And you had to be very careful. A, you would lose custody, and B, you could lose your job. Anyway, you just had to be careful and make sure that you were secure enough in many ways to be truthful.
It's tough, and it's sad. And it's sad that you had to, stay closeted for so very long. And, so things have changed for the better in many ways in that respect. But also, like you alluded to earlier, you're seeing things that you saw back then somewhat, in some ways, coming back around, which is very scary.
Exactly. Like before, our social life was either a gay club, a gay female club, if possible. And there were clubs back in those days, but there's not as many now because they're not necessary. There's more male clubs now.
Well, they have better income. But I remember when I first came to Canada, and there was a club that it was called Letros anyway, and it had like tea dances. So you would be men and women and all together, and the men would be dancing with the men and the ladies would be dancing with the ladies. And then someone would get the signal that the coppers were coming, the police were coming. Well, the next thing you know, everyone's dropped everyone, and the nearest person of the opposite sex you would grab and be dancing around for when the police arrived. And that's how, and you'd meet people, someone you didn't know. Hi, how are you? Do you come from the area? You know, like, and then the police would go and you go back and find your own partner.
Oh my God, that's hilarious and crazy.
Yeah, that was in Toronto in about 68 or 9, yeah. And then the people, you get the signal that the police were coming, and the way people that were really scared would find a way out the back and take off, and then everybody else would be just switching partners and dancing with someone else. It was so funny. It was a way of being, you know, simple.
Yeah.
That is truly amazing. But okay, so also in your lives as gay women, and possibly out by now, but possibly not out by now, the AIDS epidemic. You lived through this.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, it was dreadful and stigmatized and fearful, and I don't know what to say. Like, so many of my friends died. I used to belong to a group of clogging group, and we used to clog all over, and a lot of them are dead now, and you try and be helpful. And I never forget, I went to the hospital. One of my mates was in the hospital, and I went to see him, and his mother was there, and his mother sort of came out, and she looked at me and I looked at her, and we both hugged each other, and we never said a word, and we just turned away and walked away. And it was the most wonderful moment. And, you know, as that woman and I were hugging, and we didn't have to say anything because we knew exactly what we were saying.
Awful.
I wasn't exposed as much as Jan, perhaps, because I was mainly with females and went to a female club, and I didn't have the opportunity to make male friends as actually my ex-husband had more male friends.
Gay friends?
Yes, some of them were. Yeah.
Well, one of them I knew, and I said, "That's Robin," and you said, "Well, that's Dave's friend." We're looking at a photo album, and I said, "Well, I know him. We placed cruise ships together in his backyard, you know."
Yeah.
and cruise ships was like cocktail hour, and we'd put a big lawn chair out and sit and have a cocktail and talk, you know. So
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
I can remember one of his friends died. It was never confirmed to me that he had AIDS, but I knew he was not well. But my ex-husband always told my oldest daughter that he had a brain tumor. And I knew he was gay. I knew he was living in Toronto, and he had been shunned by his family. He didn't have a brain tumor. That's just what he told her.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he told your husband too. Like, he might not have been out to your husband as well.
He was, yeah.
So now you're the gayest family in Canada.
Karen says that.
I love that. It's one of my favorite things ever. And so Karen had a kid, and now your grandchild is old enough to have a family of her own if she wants. What's happening with that?
Well, I don't think she wants to have kids.
Yeah.
I think she's just busy exploring her life, and she's living a pretty good life, I think. She
just bought a condo.
She does all sorts of things
in Toronto
and travels here and there. So,
she travels all over.
And she's had a few relationships. A couple of guys didn't work out, and she wasn't that happy. And then she had a couple of female relationships. She's not with anyone right now, but she identifies as queer. Well, there you go. So,
we're never sure what that all means anymore. So.
It's the umbrella, all the language. Yeah, how do you keep up with all the language?
I don't. I have to ask sometimes, and I feel very stupid. And I have to sort of think, oh, that's the same as this, that's the same as that. You know, it's all there. It's always been there, but now it's got an initial. So
It's funny. Things have changed immensely. Even since I came out around 2000, in the late 90s, around 2000. And it was gay or lesbian. That was it.
Yeah.
And bisexual, but not really. You really can't be, you couldn't really be bi. So that was it. You had to pick one. You had to pick a side.
Yes, you have to have a label. Well, now you've got more labels to pick from. But it's
exactly.
still the same. It's still the same. It's there. It's always been there. It's been back in the Middle Ages. It's still been there. It just might have had a different name or didn't have a name, So nothing's changed in that regard, just the labeling.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. I love that point. So I have one more question for you. And I'm asking everybody who's taking part in the special Pride extravaganza that I'm doing. And it's kind of a loaded question. So if you need a second, take a second. But I have a feeling you won't need a second. The question is, what does pride mean to you?
Oh, I have to quote Karen, do you? Well, this is quoting Karen, and I think it's good. Karen, Pride was her gay Christmas. It was her Christmas.
When I first went to Pride, it wasn't with Jan. I was with someone else. And I was hiding.
Yeah.
In case somebody saw me or, they might catch me on a camera on TV or something like that. But the last one that we were at,
we were in it.
We were in the parade,
we were
in the back of a truck and with water guns and the whole thing. Plus, earlier, before the parade, we did a question and answer period on Canadian broadcasting. And some friends of mine who maybe suspected that I was gay would phone up and say, "Hey, we saw you on the TV, on the news."
Oh, my goodness.
We knew we were out then.
So, kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Pride to me is just that pride. And it is, I always get emotional when PFLAG come by because so many people have suffered by their parents unaccepting of their lifestyle. And so it's really good to see the parents that do accept and are accepting enough to be visible enough to come out and march in a parade.
Yeah,
but pride is a sense of community, a camaraderie, being worthwhile and knowing you're worthwhile and there's all other people and you're getting recognition, respect, and you are proud. So that is what pride is.
Now.
Amen. I love that. Yes. Thank you. And I think you are helping. You show your pride daily on your channels that Karen makes you do, but we love it. If anybody wants to find you, where can they find you so they can start following you and hearing all your...
I don't know, Karen.
Karen, we need Karen.
No, Karen, where can they find us?
Hi, Karen.
Yeah.
We heard all about your story. I don't know if you were listening, but I know everything. Your TikTok handle, and where can they find the film when it's out?
We're not sure who's going to pick up the film. We're hoping either HBO or Netflix. It's in the hands of an agent right now trying to sell there's actually two versions of the film. There's a 91 feature that will be going around in some festivals for that before it gets released wherever.
What about the TV? And
then
there's a 45-minute version of it, which actually we really enjoyed that, probably even better than
I don't know. Anyway, we thought it was all right.
What about the TV station?
It's called Out TV.
Okay.
And they're out of Canada.
And that's called...
And they own the 45-minute one.
And it's called Our Gay Family.
Our Gay
Family.
And the other one is Unusual Normal.
Unusually Normal.
Okay, and what about TikTok?
Apparently there's
17.
They can get us at
Canada's Gay Family, CGF.
CGS, 1717.
Yeah.
CGF 1717 is the if they put that in there, they'll find us on.
But it's
and that'll be in the show notes, and the listeners can find that way. So that's wonderful. And Karen, since you're here, I want to ask you what I asked your gay mom, grandmas, great gay moms Do you call them? But wait, actually, what do you call them?
Yeah.
Well, we all kind of call them the grandmas now. Like everybody in the city that we live in, whoever knows these two, they call them the grandmas, the gay grandmas.
Gay grandmas.
No, just
Yeah,
grandmas.
the gay grandmas. I just call her my mom. And
Yeah,
I call
well, that's
her
mom.
Jen.
Yeah.
Jen.
I'm Jan, and Madison calls me Grandma Jan, and
Uh-huh.
just Grandma. Yeah.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
Grandma Jen.
They were both at her birth.
Yeah.
It was the best.
I
day
took
ever.
pictures.
We have film of the video of the.
Oh my God. Yeah. That sounds like an amazing story, and having your mom be the first to tell you and all the things sounds beautiful. I might have to bring you in and have your story told. But my question to you, Karen, is I asked the grandmas,
Yes.
what does pride mean to you? I would love to hear from you, second generation.
Pride is my favorite day of the year.
Me too.
It's better than Christmas. It's like, when you're a little kid and you're waiting for Santa to come. Well, I feel that way before, just as when Pride is starting, because it's like, this is where I belong. This is all my friends. I can be myself. It's an incredible day, and now it's huge now.
It's a month.
Whole month, June.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things going on for the last week, and there's nothing like it. I'm home when I'm there.
The first Pride parade that I saw, I had no idea what it was. I was in San Francisco.
With your lover.
Yeah.
Not me.
With my first partner. And we had a travel van that we traveled all over to California. It stayed under some kind of overpass and a highway. And we heard this music and couldn't figure out what it was. And then they had a float that was honoring Harvey Milk. And that's when we realized. And then when the parents came, P-Flag came, we then knew what was happening. And so we really had to drive fast after that. We had to stay and watch it all,
You couldn't be there. You couldn't be seen.
No.
You couldn't be found out.
Well, this was in San Francisco, so I didn't care about being seen.
Oh, okay, good. I'm from San Francisco, by the way.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Oh.
Yeah. I know those Pride parades well.
Yes.
Well, in the 80s.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Well, this has been absolutely fantastic. I'm so glad I got to meet the gay grandmas and Karen, the daughter. Keep showing up, because it really does matter. It really, really matters. And I personally am thankful that you show up as your true selves for all of us to see, because seeing gay grandmas, that's amazing. And look at your beautiful life. Right? And then all of it. So it matters. Normalizing all of our families really matters. So thank you.
And
Thank you for having us.
And it's nice meeting you too.
Yes.
We're family now. Chosen family.
That's
This
right.
is how it works, right? That's what you were saying. Anyway, Jan, so we're in it. We're in that gay community. So
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for having
thank you.
us.
Thanks for having us.
Yes.
Thank you. And apologies for all the technology mistakes.
It happens.
So,
It's technology, and that's what happens with technology.
We're used to that stuff. We never know what we're doing.
No.
Queer Family Podcast.
Whew. Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed that episode as much as I enjoyed it. And if you did enjoy it, feel free to listen to another or watch another. I have so many episodes for your listening or viewing pleasure. Just go pick one and enjoy. There's a lot. There really is. And also, if you really do like this show, please, I know I say it all the time, but please do consider supporting the show on Patreon. You're just going to go to patreon.com/The Queer Family Podcast. You're going to pick a tier, you're going to join, and you're going to get that bonus content. And you're also going to get my love and adoration for the rest of my life. I love you all. Thanks for tuning in. Keep on tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Mwah.